Glad to have you back. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Before we went on that very quick break there, we played a report which talked about more like an eco-friendly transportation kind of a system that is being implemented in faraway Gombe State. Of course, a lot is being done in that regard there to ensure that we move from the fossil fuel to cleaner energy, which is, something that will indeed very good for the economy. We hope to see how other states in Nigeria can begin to embrace what is going on in Gombe State. Of course, listening to some of the speakers there, they did say that if it can happen in Lagos, Abuja, or Port Harcourt, of course, why not Gombe? And of course, we hope that states across northern Nigeria, from Kogi down to Kwara, to Yobe, to Borno, and other places, can begin to embrace this technology and, of course, move away from the fossil fuel. And, of course, so will not be left behind when it comes to migration from fossil fuel to cleaner energy, which is also the goals of the major climate change decisions in recent times. Moving on now, we'll look at a very important topic on the show today, which is the Nigeria's non-oil exports. Over the years, we relied so much on crude oil, but now the attention is being given to the non-oil products there. We're seeing the exports of that product hitting $3.225 billion in the first half of 2025, which is indeed a huge number. On Saturday, the DG of NEPC did made that presentation here in Abuja. And what are we even exporting that is giving us this humongous amount? What is the future of non-oil exports in Nigeria? Let's talk to Dr. Sam Omale, who is the president, CEO, Raw Global Investment Network. He joins me today from Vancouver in Canada. Dr. Omale actually based in London, but he's on a business trip to Canada. We follow him all the way down to that place. Good morning, Dr. Sam Omale.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Good to see you. Sorry for waking you up.
Thank
I'm sure it's quite early. I think it's around 3 a.m. where you are right now.
Yeah, it is 3 a.m.
Thank you for,
thank
you for joining us. We appreciate
trying to
the
adopt the
sacrifice.
jet lag, so it's fine.
All right. Let's talk to us about Nigeria non-oil exports. Over the years, we've relied so much on crude oil exports. Now, it does seem that we are not paying attention to non-oil exports. Looking at the number is indeed very, very low when you compare to what we gain from even crude oil exports in a day. But what we got in 6 months is $3.225 billion. What will you make of this number?
Statistics and numbers can confuse or give a temporary relief to people if misinterpreted, if not well understood. Because I have questions that I want to ask. Number one, what is the percentage contribution of non-oil? They have just told us they improved by 3 billion. What does that mean in terms of the holistic contribution to the economy? I can tell you now, it's 5%. Number two, that answered the second question I wanted to ask. What is the oil contribution? It's still very high. It's still in 95 percentile. And like you said, and with the fluctuation in the prices, that's the bigger problem we have. Number three is, you alluded to that in your introduction, where are these specific non-oil products? We're going to talk about, I'm going to mention them, but more importantly, how can we improve on those sectors, on those products, individual products that is helping us to improve on our non-oil earnings? And number four, is there a government policy that deliberately fashioned, designed to move us away from heavy reliance on oil to non-oil sectors? Is there a specific policy? Is there a goal line? And number five, of course, what will be the opportunities that are involved? And I don't know that I should continue, but that's so the point I'm saying is that I'm not impressed, or these numbers, they don't give me any relief at all. They don't give me, it's still very, 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 very low. And it's not something we should roll out the drums at all.
Some
Because
say,
to be fair, I mean, 3.2 billion is a tiny thing in in the country's economy. Is something that a medium sized company can generate. So it's not something which should be announced at all. I think that's my problem. We make so much noise on about nothing, because 3 billion is a day transaction in some companies' businesses, let alone compared to a national transaction.
absolutely, you're very correct. I will agree with you. For a country like Nigeria, who is blessed with so much, non-oil resources, exporting, be proud of just a non-oil export worth 3.2 or $3.3 billion. If you approximate the number, is something that one will not really, have to be impressed about. But if you look at the previous number, where we were before this one, we are at $2.696 billion. That was what we recorded in 2024. Of course, if you compare it to the new number, that is 19.59% increase. Don't you think at least we should appreciate where we are?
You see, you have children. I mean, I have children, and then my father brought us up with that. If you came back with a result that you begin to gloat over, I will never ask you what are the other positions you took in our days. You took second position, third position, fourth position. If I came back and told my father I took the second position, he will cane me. So the point is that we should even hide these numbers. We should not be announcing them at all, because they are very negligible. And this figure you gave now, as we are told by the statistics, is driven by global demand for Nigerian products. What products? Raw material, raw. What are we shipping? Very raw, semi-processed goods. They don't have value. They are processed and they are sent back to us, and we import them, and that will not delete all whatever profit or gain we think we have gained, because we are just sending raw materials in very raw state. When I see some of the produce I see on London market and other, I see broom, I see oak, I see yam, I see in very raw positions, and this should be is something we should improve on. We should not be importing or exporting raw materials that will bring back produce that we have to sell back. So, because we should figure out on our deposit, on our surplus export position, that's what we should be concerned at. If I can give you an example of Saudi Arabia, for example, do you know when they started diversification? Way back in the 70s. Way back in the 70s, we all were dependent on oil. Saudi Arabia has reduced their oil dependence to 50%. They have what we call a holistic plan, vision 2030, established in 2016. I'm raising my voice now because people are sleeping. Vision 2016. Now, this vision was for 2030, designed in 2016. It was launched, and it was launched for a comprehensive reduction on reliance on oil. We have that kind of policy. Non-oil now contributes in Nigeria, like I said, 95%. So, where are the sources of non-oil contribution in Saudi Arabia? It's tourism. Can't we do tourism in Nigeria? I bet you Kogi, Cross River, Calabar, Lagos, all over Nigeria, Bauchi. These are tourist areas. Now, technology you have in Nigeria is being used by Yahoo boys. It's being used for the negative things. Renewable energy. You talked about Gombe going to electricity, but how much of renewable energy are they producing? What about the development of human capital? Are we focused on them? What about fostering to knowledge-based economy? That's the kind of thing we're talking about, and not bringing out these mega products. And the opportunities, if you want me to go ahead, I can give the opportunities that are available. You want me to go ahead? So the opportunities are this. Number one, from your report, you say that the specific crops that brought about this export included something like the cashew nut. My state of Kogi State produces 97% of cashew nuts, but these cashew nuts are exported in raw state, very raw, to China and to India, and they'll bring them back. We buy at a very expensive state. So can we improve that? The cocoa we send and its derivatives they remain the Nigerian leading exports, which, like your report says, about 45%, I think, but it's still in a very low state. They take them away, make chocolates for us. It doesn't add value. Or the fertilizer is 19%. Sesame Street, gold, door, aluminium, copper ignores, soya products, and natural rubbers. These are great, great areas we can improve on, including the one of tourism, renewable energy, so many opportunities. But are we having any specific policy towards that? That's the problem I have.
Indeed, you made a very, very valid point there. Should we celebrate exporting our raw non-oil exports instead of, developing the value chain here? What do you make? Do you think, you talk about government policies, we don't really have any definite government policies as the case may be, or maybe we are not implementing them properly as we should, or what do you think government should do for us to be able to, add value to some of this? Because when you talk about cocoa, cocoa bean will be taken out of Nigeria, and of course, Bonvita will be importing back into the country. What do we do for us to begin to add value to these very valuable cash crops?
Number one, policy. A policy is a roadmap. A policy is like a budget. Like Saudi Arabia, like I said, they started thinking about it in the 1970s. 2016, they had 2030. But Nigeria will have this short-term 2010, 5-year policy. They don't take you anywhere. So, number one, we need a policy that tells us that in 20 years, in 30 years, we should, and with specific objective, we should be able to reduce our dependence on oil by 50%. Saudi Arabia has achieved that already. Two, this policy will mean that we're going to focus on the products, the areas of opportunities. Our agricultural product will be refined will be produced to a point that has more values. On specific of them, we should have policies for them. We have governance for each of these. And then look at how many companies are involved in this thing. The companies that are involved in this thing are about 4. On corporate level, we have companies like Indorama Element Fertilizer accounting for 12%, Stanley Global for about 10%, and so many, only very few companies. So what policies are we doing to encourage industrialization? Industry that can transform these raw materials into very finished product that will have value. What are they? So these company entities, how can we help them? What waiver can we give them? What tax waiver can we give them? Then development of the human capital. You need human beings. The Nigerian workforce is so unproductive. The educational system cannot produce workers. The whole mentality of Nigerians, they just get rich quick, this corruption that has taken over the place. People are not disciplined enough to learn trade, to have knowledge that can be transformed into economic development. So it's governments, and that's the business of government. Government tells you, we want to go here, then allows people to lead us there. But when the government is full of politics and all this noise about, do you think I'm impressed by a government saying that motorcycles are all over the place? How? Is that the best use of human capital? Can't these people be in factories and have 1-2 train line that can move people about? So these are the things that the noise we're making is confusing us a lot. So we need policy backed by rule of law, credible election, electing people with vision, with capacity, with knowledge and wisdom and patriotism that can lead people, that can lead our government. Nigeria is a country, I keep saying, that can that can be independent, that will not need anything to be imported to that country, but we can export almost everything. But without policy, without enduring policies and technology and industrialization and human capacity, we are just suffering needlessly. And it pains me that Nigeria is where we are now.
Indeed.
I mean, I was also listening to, I just listened to a TV program last night, and I heard when, one Obla who was very, very vocal in fighting corruption, one individual alone had $96 billion stuck in America. He's dead now. If that money comes to Nigeria, Nigeria will not need all this foreign exchange problem at all. These central banks crashing here and there to fight, to defend the Naira will not have. If people that have stolen this money bring them home, we are fine. So it's a big thing, and it's government job. Nobody can do it. Government has to come up with a policy like Saudi Arabia, and they have moved on. Saudi Arabia having tourism. How? Harsh environment. UAE, harsh environment, but it's the center of the world. They have diverted all airlines to that place. Harsh, very harsh environment. Nigeria has beautiful weather, beautiful sceneries, and yet we're languishing in poverty, and that's my problem.
Indeed, quite, very deep analysis that you did give there. Let's also look at, when you talk about policies, maybe we are actually misplacing our priority. When the president came in and said he introduced a policy on in the oil and gas sector when he take out the subsidy, and of course liberalize the exchange rate as well. Do you think he should have taken a more decisive action with regards to our non-oil exports? I mean, creating an economy where we can become a producer instead of being a dumping ground as we are today.
No, I'm not talking of sectorial or this fly in the pan announcement of some policies, real long-term policies that are holistic, that connects every other thing. That is what I'm saying. Government announcing I've removed this, and these are not policies. These are stochastic actions that are not well thought out. That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking of real developmental policies that will have specific objectives. And Nigeria has economic team. They have economic advice. They have all these bodies. This body, what are they doing? They come to the government house. They eat granite and they just go. They just laugh. Whereas they're supposed to use brain to be able to advise the government in concrete terms and with sacrifice. Any country that doesn't have a policy, Malaysia had a policy. 10 years, they closed down the economy. Now, it's one of the best thriving economies in the world. Nigeria has no capacity to endure some temporary pains, temporary a sacrifice that can transform them into the country, into the kind of developed economy we are looking for. So it needs discipline, it needs foresight, it needs vision to do that.
Indeed, we need vision to do that. What about the private sector participation? What do you make of it? I mean, is the environment really right for them to contribute as much as they want to?
That's a problem. You and I know that companies have been run out in drones from the country in recent years. Because like you said, the environment is key. Environment is what is most important. An environment is made up of the rule of law, the governance, the government, the politics, and the infrastructure that's in place. If I can produce cheaper in Lome, in Ghana, I will take my companies for that place. Dunlop left Nigeria. So many companies have left Nigeria because of the cost of production. So these are the things, and these are government functions. It's left for government to develop its environment to encourage investors to come. I have a bad statistics of $29 billion being spent on governors, junketing and around the world. For what? They bring investors. Instead of using that kind of money to develop the infrastructure, manpower that will naturally bring people in. They use this money to be traveling all over the place. Some of them are coming here for holidays, coming here to attend women birthday parties. This on seriousness has to go. So it's a government policy, it's a government function to develop the environment, to provide security for life and property, develop the infrastructure, and that is it. You don't encourage people to come, you develop. So it's not about begging anybody to, you develop, make cost of production cheap. You can attract a lot of people to come into that country if it's cheaper to produce in that country. That's why other countries in Asia have become a factory hub for the world. China is a factory hub for the world. Indonesia, all these countries, they outsource, the companies outsource things to them because it's cheaper to produce. Most of the things we wear in America and Europe are produced way back in Asia. That's outsourcing. Nigeria can be a source of outsourcing because look at the people that are flying motorcycles. They should be in factories. Look at the people that are in the bush kidnapping. They should be in the factory. Look at the kind of human waste in that country. They should be in the factory. So that's a problem.
Indeed, a lot that government need to do for us to be able to achieve a development in our country. Doctor, Nigeria is a member of, one of the leading member of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We're part of that agreement. In fact, we initiated that move. We're part of the initiator. But I think it took us some time for us to be able to sign into that deal. Apparently, because of the kind of environment and how the kind of production sector that we did operate. Do you think the Nigerian current position is not in any way helping that agreement to succeed? Because as it is, AFCFTA is still not where the African leaders wanted it to be when the agreement was signed.
You see, other Africa look up to Nigeria for leadership. That's the truth. Nigeria has the largest economy. That's a fact. But they're not carrying their weight. Other black nations, if any black man anywhere in the world, they're looking for Nigeria to emancipate. Look, once Nigeria develops, Africa is limited. That's a heavy responsibility that is on the shoulders of Nigeria and is capable of doing. But this crop of leadership have no capacity. These people have not managed anything well in their lives. They have depended on all the major so-called industry leaders, people who have enjoyed the patronage of government assets. No, they have not created anything in a real sense. So there's no what we call in economics capital formation. So until Nigeria developed itself, it cannot lead. You cannot lead when you yourself need somebody to hold your hands. That's the problem we have. Africans are looking for Nigeria. They're looking for Nigeria to wake up, to lead them. So Nigeria does that. Whatever trade agreement, its associations will not work.
Indeed, that may not work. As we wrap up the conversation, what do you think government should do? I've asked before with regards to issue around policies. Of course, we have various state governors and, of course, the local government. And most of the crops that we are actually exporting and domicile in all of these states. But it does seem that our attention is so much on the federal government. Do you think the states and, of course, the local government have abdicated their responsibility to the federal government?
Well, I think we should start from, do they even know that? Do they know their responsibility at all? Because I campaigned in the last election and none of the candidates, none of them had any manifesto written at all, including the one who is supposed to be the governor now. No written agenda or manifesto at all. We have them in all over the place. The guy in Edo State, what policy? What was he campaigning on? Was he even campaigning? So we the problem starts with selecting people that we put in places as ATMs. We put these people as ATMs for the big guns at the back. So when they're being remotely controlled, what happened in River State, the government want to move, there's a holdback because somebody put him there. So that we should start from that place. Our electoral reform, we should not be shooting ourselves on the legs. We should not be doing this to ourselves. Bring credible leaders who understand what it is to govern, who understand business, who understand economics. Every state should operate like what I call a business entity, operate like a business entity. Meaning that a state like Kogi State, you have 36 solid minerals, you have coastal lines, if you will believe, we have tourism, we have agricultural land. Now, how can we develop this into economic gain for the people? How can you develop the blue economy alone in Kogi State? How can you develop the transportation economy? How can you develop, each of them? So if you don't have it, you can't give it. You cannot give what you don't have. These people have no capacity. They have no levels that require them to think to improve any economy. So they are just there as ATMs, depending on government, the FAC allocations. I've told them in Kogi State that if I was the governor, I would not even need that FAC because there'll be so much money to be created. So number one, electing people who have the knowledge. Two, this knowledge must be concretized into visionary leadership that gives targets to every ministry. Every ministry can be operated as a business unit to develop specific business models for each ministry that will bring in money. Will be independent. The focus of every state should be independence and providing the economic benefits to the people, socio-economic benefit to the people by employing them, securing their safety, and reducing or eliminating hunger in the place. So when people are engaged, not idling about, then there will be no insecurity. But people are idle, they have nothing to do, so they have to ache from every source they can, and that's what's breeding criminality and all these things.
Indeed, a lot there that need to be done. But do you think if we're operating a federal system of government, some call it true federalism, I think federalism is federalism. Whether it's true, I don't think there's forced federalism. If you are operating a federal system of government, a proper federal system of government, don't you think states and local government, maybe we eliminate this issue of allocation coming to Abuja to share money? Don't you think states and local government will sit up? Even before you begin to seek for public office, you have to look inward and see what you can actually generate. Do you think that is the right way to go?
Yeah, but the party politics will play that is recruiting states as an appendage of the federal government is the problem. You see what's happening now. The federal government is getting governors into their conclave. So if that way is, they're not letting them go. We should have each state should be independent, but we're not letting them so because they have to align with the federal government. They have to seek favor for protection. If you don't seek favor for protection, they create emergency, state of emergency in your state, and they remove you. So there's this fear that the governors cannot even have a focus, even though they belong to different political parties. Their allegiance is to the executive in the center. The center must be, and what I've been saying is, the center must be disintegrated. Move ahead. The way it is now, there's no improvement.
Yes, no government. Finally, as we wrap up the conversation, let me ask you about another area that you are very, very strong in, talking about the capital market. Market has been on the upward trajectory. I know you have your reservation about Nigerian stock market performance, but the all-share index, hitting nearly 150,000 basis points. And of course, the market cap is approaching 100 billion 100 trillion naira there. What do you make of the market performance as we wrap up the conversation?
Well, you may know my of Nigerian capital market. I don't believe in the figure they roll out. I don't believe it's following organic capital market growth. That's my belief, is being manipulated. The stochastic movements of stock prices gives me cause for alarm. How do we price the assets? How are the assets priced? I want to know. Because today we say it has gained X billions. The following day, it has lost the same amount. So it's moving up and down. It's not a steady way to the market. My view is that Nigerian capital market should not should reduce trading altogether. They are going to areas that other nations have not even, they're talking about tokens, talking about cryptocurrency and all that. These are areas that developed countries like America, Canada, and they don't even go there. But we are jumping into this without understanding and having a comprehensive understanding of what capital markets are about. Capital markets is about appreciation, it's about opportunity to generate income, to generate money, to produce, to expand. But we're trading with it. We're trading with it, and trading is not a good thing. Trading leads to speculation. Trading leads to all kinds of infractions that happen. Nigeria should be building a capital market that's enduring, just paying dividend and capital appreciation for now. But this what I think in Igbo they call it isusu, and in Yoruba this you win today, the other person win today. That's what is happening in Nigerian capital market. And if you put the whole, but all Nigerian capital market, all the companies that are sold there, all of them, they belong to penny shares, all of them. Is there any Nigerian company that has a value of $10 per share in the market? None. So they put all of them together, they're in pennies. But how can we do that?
Indeed.
Bring in foreign direct investment, investors, not traders. What we have is traders. They're coming now. This time they come. They're coming from everywhere into Nigeria. They pump their money inside, bring small amount of dollars and pounds, pump into the system, goes up. By January, February, they have cashed out and they're gone. And the cycle continues. That was happening. So the SEC should sit down and formulate a proper capital market regulation that forbids this kind of illegal trading.
Indeed, a lot needs to be done holistically to make Nigerian economy attractive to not just only the investors, but to also the citizens. As we speak, a lot of macroeconomic numbers are more like rhetoric to the common Nigeria. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam Omale, President CEO, Raw Global Investment Network, talking to us all the way from Vancouver in Canada. Of course, Dr. Sam Omale is based in London. He is on a business trip to Canada as well. We appreciate your time. Of course, we wish you a safe journey back to the UK. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akubu.